Okay, so this one is really interesting as well. Ran across this. This went viral as well. I'm going to post the name of this platform in the description of this video. These two content creators were commenting on, I guess we can say, why they have experienced a lack of success with trying to date black women. Excuse me. And they attribute it to them being clean cut guys and not adhering to, like, they use the term. So what, I guess, instead of me trying to explain it, I'll go ahead and play the clip and then we'll talk about it. There's a
Mhm.
term that they use that I'd never heard this term before. So we'll play it because I can't think of the name of the term. I can't think of the term off the top of my head. So here we go. These so you see here, black suburban dudes explain why they can't pull black women. This is some interesting stuff. So we'll go ahead and play it and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
What is thug maxing in regards to a black man and his dating life? Like, what does that mean?
Lil Durk, King Von, y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
But nah, dating life, I would say the closer you fit to whatever the celebrity, the current rappers, like I said, Lil Durk, what's the other dude? Quando Rondo, all those dudes.
Mm-hmm.
The closer you fit to what that stereotype, you like some girls will be they'll just be down, especially black chicks.
I was about to
They
say,
like that shit, bro.
I think that mostly attracts black chicks.
I don't know what it is, but they like that. They don't like when a dude has it together. I don't yeah, bro. And I don't want to say that because it sounds like I'm trying to bash. I'm not bashing black women, but it just is what it is.
Yeah.
That's been my experience. I attract Latinas and white girls.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I attract.
Yeah, same. I think because I had that professional, clean cut R&B type of look, that's why I also mostly attract Hispanic and white women. And you guys be in the comments like, do you not like black women? I'm like, black women don't like me. Like, black women don't like me.
In this world, you get what you go where you want.
Yeah.
Wherever you want it, that's where you go.
I attract, I don't chase.
Yeah, dude,
So
yeah,
I attract, listen to me. No.
Yeah, thug maxing. I'd never heard of that before. That's a term that I had never heard of. So that was new to me.
Thug
Have you
maxing.
heard that?
Nah, that's new.
You ever
I
heard
had
that?
these context clues to understand what the hell they were talking about.
Right. Yeah, I never heard of that. But so that was the term that I was trying to think of. Thug maxing. Apparently, if I'm guessing based upon what they were talking about there, it's a term used to describe a man adhering to a thug type of imagery or outward appearance because it supposedly
Right.
appeals to certain types of women or whatever the case may be, is my guess there. So yeah, but they talked about being clean cut and how that doesn't wet, that doesn't get the juices flowing for black women. So um that I thought that it was interesting. Now again, I don't want to, this is their experience. People have their experiences, and so it is what it is. You cannot criticize an individual or say that they are somehow wrong for what their life experience has been. So obviously, don't want to take it there, but otherwise, your thoughts on what they had to say about that?
I agree. Uh, Thug maxing. That's. I don't know if I'm gonna use that terminology, but I definitely get where they're coming from. It makes absolute sense to me. I've experienced it. Uh, especially in my younger days. Um, when I'm fresh out of the house, you know, and I still have my ways about me, wearing 5X t-shirts and sagging my pants, trying to fit the image, you know, but certain ways that I carry myself and certain vernacular I use showed that I really wasn't from the streets. And so I would get play up into a certain point, and then they would go, this isn't dangerous enough for me, or thugged out enough for me, or whatever, right? So in those instances, it was just like, damn, I got to get more goonish. So because, well, I want me a woman and I want a black woman, right? Now, mind you, not all black women do this, so I have to make that disclaimer, okay? But when we're dealing with masses and we're just living in Miami, there were ways that I felt like I had to carry myself in order to maximize my opportunities to get a black woman. And so I started growing out wicks. I didn't have goals. I felt like goals were too they were too common. So I got white gold. So I had silvers, which was different. I was trying to be unique, but still be in the same boat. But I had 6 at the bottom or 8 at the bottom and 2 at the top. And trying to maximize my wearing 5X shirts and sagging my pants. And I gotta tell you, my rate increased. And so I started getting more attention and I started getting more play because of my imagery. And I was looking more and more like, well, a rapper. And so I know what these guys are talking about. So they refuse to go down that pathway. They just say, "Hey, man, that's not me. I'm not gonna portray that. I'm not gonna do those things. I just rather be who I am. And if they don't like it, then they don't like it." For me, I was on the other side of the spectrum where I was just like, "Hey, the only thing I had to do was wear this kind of shirt, wear these kind of jeans, or wear them kind of shoes one time, and I would go out, and then my numbers, the attention would change." So I was just like, "All right, I'll just wear shoes like this. Hell, I don't care." Once they get to know me and once they get to hang out with me, I'm not gonna change that part. I'ma still be me. I just use certain bait in order to catch you. And so that was more or less my ideology back in those days. Um, and a lot of that stuff still stuck. You know, it was what it is. I still got my hair going the way that it is. It isn't per se to get women. It just became what it was. But initially, oh yeah, it was because that's what everybody else was doing in the industry. So I had braids where braids were cool. Because when I was in school, I had to compete with the B2Ks and the Bow Wows and the Little Romeos. I'm showing my age here, but I had to compete with that type of imagery. So I was going out with that imagery so I could get that attention of whatever was going on at the time. Then when I got out of school, it was, hey man, locks became the thing. So I just got locked up and I just started doing that. And eventually, I liked how they looked on me and I just kept rocking and rolling with it and just having fun with my hair. But it still gets the attention from whatever. Once they come around me and they hear me talk and I'm using words and I'm not mumbling, and I do all these other things, they run again still. The ones that came looking for the thug maxing. So these guys aren't wrong. It is a thing. It is a dynamic that occurs. Um, More or less now, I've gotten to the pocket of being a lot more comfortable with who I am. So no more sagging my pants, no more whatevers. I speak how I speak. It is what it is. Um, and yeah, but by the way, Dogon SS. Well, hey, I rap. So if you go to my channel, right, that's where my songs are at, right? So part of my appearance is, well, it was what you typically would see from kind of like a rapper, but at the same time, it's I'm not like the typical rapper. And it's because if I came out and I was out here and I was, whatever type of things, it wouldn't catch people's attention. So a lot of the ways that a lot of the tattoos and stuff that I had, I started getting them when my rap persona had to be a thing. I no longer rap like that. I could still make a song or whatever, but it's still not a thing where that's my career anymore. So a lot of my aesthetics that I developed in order for to catch attention for rap reasons, cultural reasons. Yeah, it has a lot of the aesthetics of the thug maxing these guys talked about. If you look at my siblings, all right, you look at my cousins and stuff like that, I'm the only person that looks like this. All right. So, yeah, a lot of it is me. A lot of it was adopted from trying to portray a certain type of image because of what the streets was saying was cool. So I wasn't going to go all the way to the other side. So I adopted certain things that I thought was okay enough to rock. And I said, yeah, that's cool to me. So I'll rock that and do that, but I'm not going to go all the way to the extreme. So no, there's validity to what these guys are saying. I lived it personally. My life is a testimony of experiencing this because I exclusively date Black women. And yeah, but as I got older, of course, I don't feel the need to uh to be like how I was when I was like 20, 21, where I really felt like I had to be Lil Wayne or whoever was popping at the time. But what about you, sir? How do you feel about all of this stuff?
Yeah, I don't think that they're wrong, but I also think that it requires context. So I did it for a while too. There was like a 4 or 5 year window. I would say from junior year high school all the way through probably all the way through senior year college. So what are we talking here? Probably from like ages 16 to 24. So like there's a good 8-year period where I was conforming, specifically for the purposes of trying to appeal to women. So all of my motivations for my outward appearance, the way that I dressed, the shoes that I wore, if I wore jewelry, the way that I got my hair cut, pretty much my primary motivation behind all those decisions was to try to appeal to women. And during this time in my life, I as well primarily was trying to appeal to Black women. So I perceived some of these things to be how best to position myself to appeal to women. And since the majority of the women who I was trying to appeal to at the time were Black, because that was where I wanted to be, that was what motivated my decision making when it came to stuff like that. Eventually, I grew out of it because I just realized, first of all, every time that I did it, I experienced cognitive dissonance because I knew that it wasn't actually who I was. So whenever I wore the 36 waist Jabot jeans and the 2X and the 2X shirts, now don't get me wrong, 11th, junior year, senior year, I was fly. So, I had a job, I was busting tables, I was making money. All I was doing was spending it on clothes and shoes. So I had every pair of Jordans that came out during this period of time. I was buying a new outfit a week. Whenever we went on them class trips, whenever we went on them class trips, and it was like the thing about a class trip was having your class trip outfit.
Yeah.
Like I was into all of that stuff. And all of my motivation for why I was acquiescing to that was to try to get girls because of how I dress and how I looked. Now, if you want to call that thug maxing, I guess you can, because white guys weren't dressing that way. That was a particular type of style and dress that was specifically contingent, that was specifically tailored to urban forms of dressing, which was mostly Black people. So, I didn't do any of the goals or anything in my mouth. I don't have any tattoos, but my clothes, my shoes, my haircut, my jewelry, all of that was how can I maximize my space within this hip hop ecosystem so that I can try to appeal to women. That was my primary motivation. So yes, it is a real thing, and I did it as well. Now I broke out of it because I literally got tired of dealing with 8 years of cognitive dissonance in which I would look this way and dress this way, but then I would talk the way that I talk. And I would be into some of the things that I was into, and I would just have these conflicting, contradicting things going on in my brain where it was just like, I'm talking like this, and I like going to watch these types of movies, and I'm into these types of TV shows, and hell, I'll still sit down and watch Spider-Man the animated series from the 90s.
That shit went
And I'm
hard.
into playing right, and I'm into playing sports and all of that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I'm putting on these clothes and I'm talking like this whenever I go to try and meet girls at a club. It was too much dissonance for me and I couldn't take it. It was causing my brain to overload. So eventually I just let it go and I learned how to be more comfortable in my own skin. But there was a period of time in which I was doing this. And so thug maxing, as they describe it, I've never heard of this term. That is a thing. It's a real thing. And it does specifically have to do with, I would say, people who subscribe to urban or hip hop culture, which statistically is mostly black people, which is why it applies to black people optically when you look at it on the back end. Now, the reason why I say context matters is because you have to think about where it is that you are trying to fish. Where are you trying to meet women? So we talk often about mind control, and I talk often about you. So you bring up mind control a lot, and I bring up parallel universes a lot. Places like clubs and bars are parallel universes where typical normal rules of socialization no longer apply. And it's literally about how you can flash the biggest tail fawn like a peacock in order to attract as many women as you can. So rules of socialization in grocery stores and gyms and I don't know, movie theaters and bowling alleys do not apply to what goes on and what makes the most sense in places like clubs. So to guys like this, and I'm speculating here because I did this. I was trying to take rules of socialization that exist outside of places like clubs and bringing them into the club. And I was further confusing the situation because I was trying to socially adhere to the rules and norms of places like that, but trying to sort of fit these weird square pegs in the round holes where I'm trying to do normal social things in this very antisocial environment. And none of it ever made sense. So I feel like if you are a clean cut black guy who feels like they have to thug max in order to meet black women, it probably signifies your attempts to meet black women in places where not thug maxing isn't going to work for you. So like if you're trying to meet women in places like clubs, you're going to have to be someone you're not in thug max. And oftentimes women see through that. And so they're not going to really give you any attention because they see that you're trying to be something that you're not. So the context always matters. You can get the attention of black women. It just has to be in more neutral social settings when your personality and your achievements speak for you and you're not flashing a big tail fawn by wearing weirdo clothes and weirdo jewelry and putting weirdo stuff in your mouth so that you can try and meet women in these parallel multiverses like clubs and bars. And that was what I learned. So like while I can attest that there's some merit to what they're saying, I also would have to ask them like, okay, well, where are you exactly trying to meet these black women? Because I've met plenty of black women who were interested in me, and these women were attractive. I just didn't meet them in places where I had to thug max in order to meet black women, period. So that's pretty much what it boils down to. I think environment and context matters. Now, that's not to say that everything that they're saying is completely devoid of merit, because a lot of what they're saying is true, and I can speak to that as well. I became more comfortable with dating outside of my race as I got older because I realized that in certain contexts and environments, me being who I am naturally attracted women who weren't part of my community. Now, I didn't speculate as to why that was taking place. I just went with it. Dude there on the right, he said, I think I don't know whether he said men or just people in general, but I do believe that people have a natural propensity to gravitate towards where they are wanted. So I didn't ask questions. I just realized, hey, I'm getting off over here. So let me just go there because I'm seeing success. And I think it's natural. I think it's natural for everybody to go to where they are seeing success. And so I started to realize, hey, I'm attracting non-black women in these neutral environments and I'm not doing anything. I'm just being JV Wins. I'm not thug maxing and I don't have to consider thug maxing. I'm just being JV Wins. However, I will also say that in those same socially neutral environments, it wasn't just non-black women. It was black women too. Because at the end of the day, women are women. So if you're on your square, as you like to say, and you're being who you're supposed to be and you're living your purpose and you're doing your thing, black, white, Latino, Asian, whatever the case may be, so long as they're not hung up on the idea of dating black men or being with you or whatever the case may be, you're gonna attract what you attract. So it's all about the environment and the context is my general point. And I'm not saying that they're totally right, but I'm also not saying that they're totally wrong. I think that uh there's a happy middle ground where what they're saying is both true but also requires further context because the environment does matter. I think oftentimes when it comes to black people specifically, we're out here trying to, black men oftentimes are out here trying to meet black women, especially if they're attractive, in places where being out of your mind and trying to operate in a parallel universe where normalcy doesn't exist, that's where we're finding ourselves trying to meet our black women. And oftentimes, unfortunately, thug maxing is the only way that you can appeal to women in those environments because that's just the social construction of those places lend themselves to that form of behavior and that type of conformity. So I would say that if you are interested in meeting attractive black women who want to be with black men who are clean cut, in which you aren't required to thug max, join professional networking organizations, volunteer, get a part-time job where you're around attractive black women in a work environment or in those types of contexts and settings. You'd be amazed what you can pull if you do that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you're out here just trying to meet chicks at bars, clubs, lounges, hell, even the gym, as the great Kevin Samuels used to say before he passed, COVID-19 created a new meat market in the gym where now people, go to the gym and they're trying to run game and socialize and meet women, and women are trying to appeal to men using the same social rules that apply in clubs. So even clubs now are no longer safe. So, if you do some of these alternative things, I think guys like this will see some of their results shift. Now, again, like I said, they're not completely wrong. Yes, there is a greater likelihood that you will get non-black women who appreciate what you bring to the table as a quote unquote clean cut guy, because there are just certain cultural idiosyncrasies that make what appeal to black people different than what appeal to non-black people. And that's the world that we live in. It is what it is. But I don't think that it's as easy as just generalizing it by saying black women don't want me. Well, where are you trying to meet these women? Um, it's not a one size fits all, and I'm not saying that'll solve all of our problems, but I think that trying to do some of these alternative things will give you a greater statistical chance of being successful. So that's pretty much where I'll leave it.
Yeah, and to touch back on, my side of it and my perspective is that yeah, it had an influence on a lot of things. When I'm growing up, I'm seeing who's getting to play in school. This is from elementary school. I'm seeing who's getting to play in middle school. I'm seeing who's getting in high school. So when I had the opportunity to actually, go get the clothes that I wanted and do whatever, then at that point I started to, I just, everything, it was like, I said, I'll do that. That's what you want. I'll do that.
Right.
At first it was just full blown, whatever you want. In the midst of me doing full blown, whatever, society was telling me to do, I started to, I was like, I don't like how I look with that, or I don't like how I feel with this, or whatever. It became like a mix and match type of thing where certain things would stick, certain things didn't. And so there's a lot of things that I did that didn't stick. And there's a lot of things that I did that did stick. And so with me, I basically, because like I told you, like I would basically chase them off as soon as I started talking. As soon as I started talking, it was like, whoa, I didn't know you sound like that. And I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? They used to tell me that. I was supposed to be, something else, and I just wasn't, because I was looking like something else, and
Mhm.
it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So over time, I just started to develop something that is more hip hop, as you can clearly see. You know, I told you that, part of my everything was trying to be, into the rap thing, but not like traditional rap. I was really trying to do what we're doing here through music.
Mhm.
But in order to the hip hop fan is thug maxed. So they and they're not gonna listen to you if you're not fitting some type of image. And so part of my persona of things that I was developing into was to make sure that aesthetically people would, okay, well, let me hear what this guy's got to say. And
Mhm.
so over time, my persona grew into, what it is now, with hair and chains and rings and tattoos and all this other stuff. But I still wear button up shirts,
Yeah.
and I still speak how I speak, and I still have the opinions that I have. And part of the things that I enjoyed, even when I had goals in my mouth, was that I look like this, but I'm one of the sharper tools in the room, which you didn't expect to see, or you didn't see that coming. So I kind of got a kick out of it, you know. And I still get a kick out of it every once in a while, especially, when I walk into a room and, my hair is not standing up like this, but it's still locks. And, I walk into a room and it's just like, oh, look at this thug maxed character. Hey, Negro. Hey, Negro. Why don't you jigaboo for me for a second? All right. And it's just, and then and I have choice words for them in a way where they didn't expect to see coming. I still get a kick out of those things.
As
But
do I. Yeah.
yeah, so overall, um, the phenomenon, and when it comes to women outside, they look over here. They seem intrigued, but at the same time, it seems like they, at least in my world, because I don't know what to do over there. So I just keep it, I just let them look. But it's a thing where it's just like they're intrigued, but at the same time they're going, I don't know if that's for me, kind of thing. And it's just like, I look and I go, and I be intrigued sometimes, but I still go like, yeah, I don't know if that's for me. So, but be that as it may, my sisters, I enjoy them. It can be a handful at times, but I realize that how I carry myself, and especially how I shot my shot initially, tells me the character that I'm going to be dealing with for the long run when I'm talking to them. And so I realized my best bet is to just be myself, as much as possible. All right. Throughout the entire duration. So when I'm talking to them, when I first meet them, our first conversations, our first date, our first everything. So that way there is no misconceptions about who I am and who I'm going to be when the lights are off. Not with sex, but when we're at the house chilling. You know.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
when I decide to actually relax and be who I am authentically 100%, that was the same guy you met the first day I talked to you. And so if that doesn't wet your whistle, then we wouldn't have gotten this far. So I just realized that just me myself personality wise, I do bring myself, whatever it may be. And if they run for the hills because I don't sell drugs, well, that's their loss, not mine.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so,
Yeah.
but yeah, I haven't really experienced this with any other group of women. Any other group of women, if they did hear me talk, they weren't they weren't like running for the hills. It was a situation where I told you, like, they'll look and be like, oh, I probably scare him. It's like, maybe he does sell drugs, or maybe, yeah, I don't know what they're saying
Yeah.
in
You
their
never
head.
can tell. You never
Yeah,
can
so
tell.
I don't, but I think I chase. It's like, but it's still a thing where, yeah, man, this is a phenomenon that I've witnessed as a young man since I was in elementary school. And so to tie all this in, I've seen this since elementary school, and I was only interested in black women. So that's what I was picking up. Now this guy's talking about some, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got the R&B vibes, you
Yeah, I
know.
don't know. I don't
Man,
know what that is. Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? The open shirt
yeah.
that scares women away too, bro. So
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't concur with any of that. I didn't concur with any of that. It's like, bro, you look feminine.
but
Uh,
that's what they but listen, hold on. But that's what he's talking about. That's what he's saying that black women say to him. But other women don't say that.
I don't think that's what he's saying. No. Well, so hear me out. I don't think that's what he's saying. I think that is what women believe.
That he's
But
soft.
I don't, but I think he thinks that it's his clean cutness. I think he believes that. No, seriously. So I think that he believes that what's keeping him from being more successful with black women is that he is just clean cut. I think that's what he believes. But I think women might look at him and maybe be like, you might be a little too effeminate. So that's why I can't all the way. That's why I tried to preface my remarks by bringing context into the equation because it matters. Like, and again, I'm living proof of it too. Like I dealt with all of this. I grew up, and it was like, how do I get black women? Okay, let me get the jewelry and the oversized clothes and the flashy clothes. And I've carried a lot of that with me into adulthood. So I'm still a guy who likes to dress nicely, and I still wear Jordans. I'm a Jordan collector, and I still match my clothes, and I like to wear nice outfits. Like you've seen the way I dress. So I still carry that with me, but it's fitted, and I don't care what the name brand is because I'm a rock it and make it look good because it's me and it's who I am. And that just attracts women, period. Like it's context and environment. That's the point. You can bring in all of these qualifiers if you want, talking about R&B, whatever. I don't know what that is. But you've got taco meat with your chain on, and that might not appeal to women who gravitate towards men who exude masculinity. So it's all about context. And again, environment is important. I learned that the way that my personality is set up, I am more successful meeting women in socially neutral places. So I had to learn the importance of social diversification because when I was in high school and college, I was trying to get all my rocks off at parties and clubs. That's not necessarily tailor made for my personality. So I had to socially diversify myself and learn how to be comfortable meeting women in more neutral settings with the lights on and without blaring music. That's what I learned is successful to me. And it's not only non-black women who inhabit those spaces. All types of women inhabit those spaces. So I kind of get an inkling that both of these guys might be in need of a bit of social diversification, in my opinion. But like I said, at the same time, I can say that while also say that there's some merit to what they're saying because culturally, thug maxing does apply. You do have a large percentage of black women who look for a certain type of aesthetic appeal, and if you don't fit that mold, they'll disregard you. Hey, man, the world is what it is. Like I said, I give practical advice. I tell guys all the time, when my numbers went up big time, bro, I got a part-time job where I worked around a larger percentage of women. So if being more successful with women is something that you care about, that's a piece of practical advice that you may want to pay attention to. Maybe you want to go get you a part-time job somewhere, working about 2 or 3 days a week, preferably in the service industry, where you are around a lot of attractive single women who are working jobs. I guarantee you a decent amount of those women will be black, and I guarantee you will be successful with at least a decent amount of those black women. So it's all about where you are and what it is that you're trying to do and what you want to accomplish. But yeah, if you go on an NBA All-Star weekend or strip clubs or rapper concerts or nightclubs, if that's where you're trying to meet women and you're getting that feedback, well, it's no wonder. Look at the environment that you're in. So That's pretty much how I look at it. I think context and environment matters. I don't know these guys, and part of them speaks to me because I do have personal experience with it. But I
Yeah.
also would say to them, like, look, bro, it's tough. And yeah, there are some challenges with you being clean cut and you want to meet black women, even especially if you want them to look good. But I also think that you would give yourself a better chance if you socially diversified yourself.
If you button up your
And
shirt a little bit,
I get the impression that they don't really work on that aspect of their social circle or their social life as well as they probably could be.
yeah, and that was the first thing I said. But and the part that resonated with me was the fact that I was raised to be, a well put together young man that was polite and well mannered, knows how to treat a woman, knows how to treat elderly people, and knows how to treat, my brothers in the street when I see them. And so when everything on TV, everything on songs and stuff like that was basically the opposite. Whenever I would go out into the world and try to interact with other people, I was, I was the black sheep,
Yeah.
and so I did things in order so I wouldn't be such an outcast. And so though, and that's all the stuff, the aesthetics and stuff that I explained, but my core who I am and stuff like that, none of those things changed. It was a lot of aesthetic changes that I did make in order to, heighten my opportunities. But in the midst of the heightening, found a lot of cool stuff in between. So I was like, yeah, I'm sticking with this because I like this. So I don't care what function it is, I'm going to dress like this. And I could be overdressed, I could be underdressed. I'm comfortable. And so that's basically how I treat everything now. And so, but yeah, man, taco meat, R&B vibes, whatever the hell he's talking about, this, yeah, I can't attest to that, but for sure, I feel like these are two extremes talking about each other. And so, he's talking about the thug maxing, and this guy is R&B maxed.
Yeah,
He's
that's the
Metro
yeah.
maxed. And I ain't trying to ride on home, but I'm just saying that's the vibes he gave me. He talking about R&B. I said, boy, you know what I'm saying? You on that
Yeah,
side of
he looks like one of those guys that if I was at a club or something like that and I saw a guy like that, I'd be like, he ain't getting no girls. He looks
it.
like one of those guys. Yeah, I just think he needs to just button up one more of those buttons um, just try to meet women in the daylight. We talk about that a lot. And look, I'm not a perfect person. So even
Yeah.
now, despite how much I know, I still work on those same things to this day. And I'm still trying to perfect my craft. But it takes a certain level of awareness and understanding of what's going on. And maybe that is a level of awareness or conscientiousness that perhaps guys like this have not quite aspired to yet.
Yeah. And
So
so
it is what it is. I get what they're saying. I just don't think that they're painting the whole picture. There's more to it. I'd have to sit down with them and be like, okay, where are you meeting these girls at, bro? Or at least where are you trying? Because that matters. And you get what you get as a result, and you need to change your input. If you don't change your input, the output's going to continue to be the same. So
yeah, and
you can't
and
continue to complain about the women. Like, what is your input? Just change the input. And changing the input isn't changing who you are as a human being. Because wearing clothes that you don't feel comfortable wearing,
right,
talking in manners in which you don't feel comfortable talking,
right,
that's not the right kind of input.
right,
That's the wrong kind of input.
right.
There's nothing to this day that can tell me that being who you are and being yourself is the bad formula. It's just about putting in the right inputs. So, interesting
Yeah,
topic. I get what they're saying, but there's, it's a nuanced conversation.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. Well, good luck to those guys, man. Go and get you a part-time job, man. You guys are clean cut, so I'm assuming you earn salaries. I'm guessing. Join a networking organization. Go to your working happy hour. There's plenty of good-looking black women in those spaces, so that'll change your outcome. I love my black women as well. I embrace, as long as you are cute and in shape, you can come my way all day, every day. That's what I say. I apply that same standard across the board. That's just me.
Yeah, and
But
fellas, button up your shirts. Nobody
yeah,
wants to see that.
for real.
Button up your
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah. Put one more of those buttons in there, man. It's
Yeah,
it's weird. That's weirdo
button up your
stuff.
shirts.
Um, but yeah, we'll go ahead and end it on that note, man. This is a great stream tonight, man. Great topics, great conversation. Another week, another Conscious Pro stream in the books. Can't wait to chop these videos up to publish them on the channel. As always, I like to say, if you appreciate the commentary on this channel, if you like this video, if you like any of these segments, subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you're watching this video on the Meta page, like the video, share the video, like the page, follow the page. We certainly appreciate your support and logical content, man. So go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can find Conscious Approach on the website, consciousapproach.com, as well as on Instagram at Conapproach, CONAPPROACH. RSS feed is coming soon. We will be uploading these to Spotify, so hopefully we can diversify our bonds there. Also, we're coming soon to TikTok as well. I'll be posting video clips on TikTok so that we can get these videos in front of the eyes of people who like to consume content there. We're just trying to grow the channel as much as we can, man. So we certainly appreciate you joining us for the ride. As always, my name is JV Wins. You can find me on Instagram at JV Wins, JVWINS. I certainly appreciate your support and logical content. And fellas, please stay on your square. Everybody stay on your square. That's what this channel is about. Staying on your square. Comment on these videos where you see fit. And until next time, I certainly appreciate your support.
Yep. And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS or on YouTube at Dogon SS. I told y'all, man, I makes music. All right, so y'all can go over there and check out some of my songs as is. All right, and see if you like any of that stuff. All right, and oh yeah, and I'm also on DraftKings. I'm gonna keep promoting that, man. Come on, holler at me, man. I think y'all scared. Come get slaughtered. Dogon_SS over there. And as I always say, guys, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player, and keep it even kill, man. And our last discussion, man, it really emphasized being yourself and being your authentic you, no matter what society is saying you should be. All right. I know the opposite sex is a strong, influential force. All right. But don't let them get you out of pocket and don't let them get you off of your pivot. So remain who you are. Keep it calm, keep it chill, and keep it play. Until next time, guys. All right. But make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, like JV Wins already said. And we're out. Until the next time, guys.
Yeah. Until the next video. We're going to see you guys next time. We out.
Peace.